What's up, guys? My name is Shaekwon Heard, and as always, you know it by now. The objective is to be heard. That being said, too sweet to everyone Tyler, Usher, Ed Purdy, Isaac, some of my best friends, too sweet to you guys. Too sweet to everyone that will or will not watch this. Happy holidays, Merry New Year. I hope your holiday season has been phenomenal. I hope you're spending it with people that you love and your days are as joyful as mine are. Just hope it's absolutely wonderful for everyone. This will be a bit of a longer video, and for the sake of what I will be talking about, it's not about firearms. It's not about wrestling or mixed martial arts or any of the usual content matter. So, trying to switch it up a little. This one is actually about paying the rent. And what I mean by paying the rent, too sweet to Isaac, that is something that I got from him. Paying the rent is every day doing something to better yourself. Isaac's story to tell is Isaac's story, and I will not tell it for him. But for Isaac, paying the rent is some sort of physical workout every single day to keep his body in optimal condition. For others, it may be something mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, whatever it may be, you have to pay the rent. And again, paying the rent is doing something every day to better yourself. And I was scrolling on social media one day and I found a post that eventually became the lock screen on my phone that says, success is never rent owned. Excuse me. Success is never owned. It's rented and the rent's due every day. And not to insult your intelligence, but what that means is if you want to achieve success of any kind, you have to put in work every single day. Um, Thinking about New Year's, my New Year's Eve was spent watching the Passion 2020 conference from Atlanta on New Year's Eve before I fell asleep at like 11:30. But one of the speakers, he was talking about basically he kind of referenced it. His whole lesson wasn't about this, but it was something that I took from it because it applies directly to my life. You know how on people's birthdays they have different hashtags for the age that they're turning. So like 23 is your Jordan year, and when you turn 19, you're nasty 19, and for your 30s it's dirty 30s. And this particular speaker, he was talking about that, and he says, if you live purely in your 20s, then you won't have dirty 30s. And how I process that is from now, because I am in my 20s, from now until the time I turn 30, if I pay the rent every single day, whatever it excuse me, whatever it may be, if I pay the rent every single day, my 30s will be clean, my 30s will be fun, full of joy and full of success. And I have to pay the rent every day. And of course, going into the new year, and for this year going into the new decade, a lot of people bashed 2019 and bashed the prior decade and talked about how the new year and the new decade is theirs. I mean, scroll social media, any given platform, and I'm sure you'll see the tweets, the Facebook posts, the Instagram posts, the Snapchats of hashtag New Year, New Me, and this year is mine, and 2020 me please, and all of these different things about the new year. That is fine and dandy. But so many people come up with these New Year's resolutions and then don't stick to them because they don't have a motivational factor that's greater than the turn of the year. Um, if you're relying on the turn of the year to be what fuels your change, then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be unsuccessful because that only happens once a year. Once a year, can you say, well, this new year is mine. No, 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 no. The change factor has to be greater than that. You can wake up on, who knows, August 27th and look in the mirror and say, you know what? I have to do better. I have to change. I want change. And you start that day. Um, Again, for me, paying the rent is something that I'm carrying into 2020 and beyond. But I started that process after the first half of last year, from maybe October until the end of the year. I started paying the rent. So when January 1st rolled around, I continued to pay the rent. Success of any kind is supported by the work that's put into it. You can't be focused on what's here and forget everything from the starting point to that product. If you forget the process while focusing on the product, you lose all of the essentials that you need to tackle the major the major um, part of the work that's going to come at the end. There's going to be another factor of work that you have to go through before you can achieve this success. It's like a video game, you know? You have so many different levels, and then you have the final boss. Well, when you get to that final boss, you have to beat the final boss before you can complete the game, you know? And real life success is that way. Again, for some people, it is physical. For some people, it's mental, emotional, you name it. For me, most of the time, it's mental. If I'm going through something and it's hard, it's just whooping me and I'm struggling, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel and I'm just going, I'm going, I'm going, I'm doing the best that I can, and then bam, another rock falls. Well, I can no longer see the light at the end of the tunnel. All I can see is this big rock that's in front of me, whatever it may be. Well, I have to figure out, one, I have to talk myself into getting over that, going around it, whatever I have to do. And then two, I have to figure out, okay, are you going to go over it, go around it, go under it, or go through it if necessary? Whatever it is, have to figure how you're going to go about it. Then you have to talk yourself into doing it, which is a lot of times the hardest part. Have all these people, well, starting on January 1st, I'm going to the gym every single day. Yeah, right. That sounds really good until that alarm is banging at 5:30 in the morning because you decided you were going to go to the gym before work every day. Yeah, it's going to be real easy to shut that off and get that last hour and a half of sleep, you know? So talking yourself into doing whatever you said you were going to do is a lot of times the hardest part. For me, that comes with assignments. Oh my goodness. I mean, y'all know, anytime I make a video and I've been away for a while, I'll let you guys know. Listen, between working, school, and coaching wrestling, that's where my time and my focus and my efforts have been, and that hasn't changed. So right now it's a break in the semester, thank God. But for me, assignments, I can get an assignment months in advance, know when it's due, and not start that assignment until the week of the due date. And that was a problem that I had since I was a kid. Procrastination and time management. Well, part of me paying the rent is at least starting that assignment the day that I get it. Even if I don't finish it in that same day, I start the assignment the day that I get it, and then from there, I have to make myself work on it little by little. Whether I have to not spend as much time on social media, not go out to Nacho Taco with my friends. Too sweet to Nacho Taco. I'll see you soon. Not go to Nacho Taco with my friends. Not spend as much time on video games. Whatever it is I have to do, that's what I have to talk myself into doing. And that's part of my way of paying the rent. And again, no amount of success can be achieved without paying the rent. And if you do achieve success after you've been paying the rent, you have to keep paying the rent. That's why it's never owned. Success is never owned. It's always rented, and the rent's due every day. Because if you become successful, whatever your definition of that may be, and you stop paying the rent, I guarantee you'll lose everything that you worked so hard for. You'll lose it all. It goes back to an old saying that my mom used to drill me with when I was a kid. If you don't use it, you lose it. And it applies to any and everything. If you don't use what you have, you will lose what you have, and it becomes what you had. So you have to pay the rent every single day. And a lot of times people go into the new year, new me. That's fine. A great friend of mine, shout out to Morgan. She told me when I was in the 11th grade, if you're gonna dream big. And that applies to hashtag new year, new me. If you don't want to see the best version of yourself, then you're wasting time. But a lot of times, again, we start too big. We start all the way here wanting to get to the product immediately without the process. So instead of it being a new year, new me, form a new habit, break an old habit, whatever it may be. You have to start small. If you try to get to the high level stuff, I tell my wrestlers all the time, we can't put you in high level situations, teach you high level moves if you can't get through the basics. If you can't get through the basics, then there's no way I can expect you to grasp the complex concepts. Same thing applies here. You start small and gradually work your way up, because what happens is, as you start small and you do it more and more every day, and it becomes muscle memory and becomes habit, you are inevitably going through that process and getting better, and it becomes second nature, so you don't always realize it. And a lot of times, again, go scrolling through social media. I'm sure you'll find dozens, if not hundreds, of posts about things like 2019 sucked, or this last year whooped my butt, and 2020 is my year, whatever you may see. And I found myself telling a few people, no, 2019 didn't suck. You just didn't do anything to better yourself. And that sucks, coming from someone that you care about, or going to someone that you care about. It's a harsh reality that people have to face. We have to hold ourselves accountable for what we do or do not do. If I don't do anything to better myself, then guess what? 2019 and 2020 will be the exact same. Nothing's going to change if your work ethic doesn't. And that's really what it comes down to. For me, 2019 was a pretty good year. It's pretty good. I had some hardships. I had some trying situations. And there was one time where I called my mom and straight up said, listen, I give up. And she straight up said, well, you can't. And I had to keep going. I had to, again, it was a mental battle for me. I had to sit down, figure out what was going on, what was wrong, why it was wrong, how I was going to fix it, and then talk myself into fixing it. And that's what I did. And so, again, and that was towards the end of the year, after I'd already been paying the rent, after I'd already been getting better. Because I'm getting better doesn't mean things are going to stop happening. Same goes for you. And again, we have to do that. You have to pay the rent. You have to figure out what it is about you that you need to work on. Because 2017 for me was an absolutely rough year. 2017 stomped me in the dirt and laughed while it was stomping me. And I decided that 2018 was not going to be that way for me. I couldn't let it. So guess what I did? I did everything that I knew I wanted to do, but on a greater scale, I did everything that I knew I needed to do for myself. Whether it was leaving one job and finding another, whether it was and getting enrolled in school, whatever it is that I needed to do, that's what I did, because I knew that if I didn't change anything, my circumstances weren't going to change. And that's what a lot of people forget. They forget that they have to change themselves if they want their surroundings to change. It's really that simple. If you're going to have the same work ethic, the same lack of motivation, the same lack of determination and drive, and sometimes a little bit of grit, if you don't have any of that, everything's going to stay the same for you. Every year is going to suck for you. And it's a harsh reality. It's hard to look at somebody and say, well, you're the cause of your own issues because you don't want to work hard. You're lazy. You're a slouch. You have no work ethic. Looking at somebody and saying that is hard if you care about that person. Because we all want the best for ourselves and we want the best for those that we care about. So, that being said, whether it's today, I'm confused on my days just because I don't have to wake up early. I don't have classes on certain days right now, so I'm pretty confused. But I think it's the second. I think it's January 2nd. So whether it's starting today, whether it's starting in July, whenever you have to start, because your timing is different than mine. Whenever you have to start, make sure you pay the rent every single day. Going forward, you have to pay the rent every day because success is never owned. You'll never own success. You have to pay the rent, have to. And that's pretty much it as far as the content matter for this video. I did want to do something different, something that wasn't firearms, wrestling, or mixed martial arts. Did want to do something different. I know that those three subjects take up the bulk of my YouTube content, but I will say this new Vikings hoodie that I'm wearing is available on our school store. If you, for whatever reason, decide you want to support me, you can support me by supporting my wrestlers. I will drop the link in the description. And same thing as always, my social media handles will be in the description as well. If you disagree with me, if you like something I said, if there was a particular thing that stuck out to you that you did not like, whatever it is, there's a comment section. You can always get to me on my social media accounts. They'll be there in the description below as well. Again, my name is Shaekwon Heard, and you guys know it. You know the objective is always to be heard. Too sweet to everybody that may or may not watch this. Again, I hope 2020 is yours. I hope that this decade is yours and that you do everything that you need to do to better yourself, because if not, things will not change for you. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a good one, and don't hold me to it because y'all know times are hard, things get hectic, but I'm going to try to get another video uploaded for you guys before the semester starts back on the 13th. So too sweet. Y'all have a good one.